Once upon a time, Kimberly was just going through the motions. Every once in a while, she'd find some happiness, but it quickly faded. She chased every possible way to make money because she thought money was the key to getting the happiness she longed for. Then, one day, she decided she was worthy enough to try a different path. It led her through the dark cave of fear, past the forest of doubts, and to the village of vulnerability. With each step, she trusted herself more. She asked for what she really wanted, and she started to get it. More happiness, more love, and yes, more money. Welcome to the next chapter of Kimberly's manifesting success story. Hello, and welcome to this episode. This is the third installment of this chapter of Kimberly's manifesting success story, which we are recording on April 11th, 2022. I am your host, Cassie Parks. I'm here with abundance facilitator, Kimberly Height. Welcome, Kimberly. I'm so excited for today's topic.
Me too. I love our interviews.
Me too. So today we're talking about becoming worthy of manifesting what you want. And we're just going to jump into it. So Kimberly, when you started in the Enchanted Circle at Enchanted Life University, what did you want?
I just wanted more money.
Yeah.
I just wanted more money. More money was the answer to everything.
Yes. And did you have to grow into being worthy of that?
Yeah. That would be a big hell yeah. Because I wanted more money, but I also didn't feel worthy of having more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I put a ceiling on what I was worthy of.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that you grew into having more money or being worthy of having more money?
Interesting that it started with changing my money story.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to taking a future self workshop to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I feel like there's layers to becoming and feeling worthy of what you want. It's also, I think now that I recognize it's a choice and it takes practice.
Yeah. Tell us about how being worthy is a choice.
Because I could tell the story that I'm not worthy of this amazing life that I've created. Or I can tell the story that, hell yeah, I'm worthy of this amazing life I created. And I'm worthy because I am. I don't have to justify it anymore of why I'm worthy. Before I would have had to justify why I thought or felt I was worthy to have what I wanted.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
There is. And this even came up recently, right? With stepping into being a coach and having the space to grow into that. There was some worthiness about, trying to push an income and, which is so interesting when you look at it because you know what's coming. It's just time, right? But often if we don't feel worthy, we want to push something to happen faster.
Yeah. And for me, it was, I didn't recognize it at first because I thought I felt worthy because I've been practicing that. I've been choosing that. And then having, I don't want this to be a story, but it's just a fact that I don't have that steady income coming in. Mm-hmm. And for me, before there was an attachment to I'm worthy because I have a steady income.
Yes.
So it was a new space, which I created, which I didn't honor and own that I created the space to become a coach and step into being a coach and building my creativity and all those things. I created this,
Mm-hmm.
but I hadn't owned it yet. And so some of my old story popped up that, oh, I don't have an income. And it kind of sent me in this, because I chose to go there, I kind of went down a little spiral of not feeling worthy of what I created.
Mm-hmm.
I was choosing a story that I didn't want to be true.
Right. Yeah. Which is so interesting because all of those were conscious, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, I just made a choice to not go get an income. It was,
Right.
I wanted to, what you're saying, and you said it, I just want to highlight this for listeners. You created a space to give you the time to build a coaching practice, to build up clients in the way that we're doing it, which is very simple and is over time because it's not a pushing and a forcing way of doing it, right? It's a very set out, like it's going to take this amount of time and then it's going to take this amount of time for the next level and this amount of time. And you created that space and you wanted to be creative and give, this space for inspiration to take place in your art instead of going and spending all this time, and an income. You want to be building basically an income for the future.
Yes.
Yeah. Love that.
And not recognizing that was like just so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Not, all of a sudden not feeling worthy of what we've created, I think happens a lot for manifestors. And then if you don't have somebody to catch you or catch that spiral, that's where you get off because it was exactly what you created. It wasn't like, oh, I created, losing my income and nothing working out. It was like, no, I made a choice. I made a choice to create this life. I made a choice to have space without an income now or a steady income. You still have income coming in, but, different ways. And you have, but that, every 2 weeks isn't what's happening right now. You created that space because you wanted that space and you wanted that space to grow as an artist and a coach, which might not have been as feasible if you were going to a job 8 to 5 every day.
Yeah. Would not have been possible.
Yeah. So what are you, currently in the next 5 years manifesting? What are you manifesting in the next 5 years?
100 clients.
Yes.
$100,000.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny that you say that because I'm going to manifest also $100,000 in my creativity. That number just popped in that I'm doing both.
Yeah.
But what I really created or what I am creating is freedom to do what I want when I want.
Yes. It's just so freedom to do what I want when I want is the thing that I think trips manifestors up. How is being worthy of what you want? We touched on this a little bit. How has it come up in terms of that?
Well, I used to think that I had to work really, really hard in order to justify having freedom to do what I want. Now it's like, wow, I'm really proud. I have created this space to step into being a coach and an artist, which is then creating the freedom that I want, and the money will just follow. Like I don't have to do anything. I just have to. I get to be me and do what I love. That's gonna have to sink in. I think. Like I didn't recognize that until just now.
Yeah.
That I created that freedom.
Yeah. You already have it.
Yes, I do. I do. Yes, I do. I already have the freedom. See, and that's why you need a coach.
Go ahead. Say why. Yeah.
Because I don't always recognize that I've created what I wanted to create. And when I start to spiral, Cassie calls me out on my shit. And she also catches me when like the whole worthiness thing and the income thing, I remember we need to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have spent weeks or months spiraling, but because I have a coach and she knows where I'm going and she can see the spirals and hear the stories that I tell, she can catch me so that I can choose a different story now
Mm-hmm.
versus 6 months down the road.
Yeah. Because that new story now impacts the next 6 months, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're creating towards what you want, or you're creating in a spiral, which is the things that you don't want, telling your stories. And or this is what's tricky, because for you it's like, oh, I want to manifest an income. And I'm like, you're already manifesting an income, right? But
Mhm.
when you get in that, if you were on your own, or there was no one to catch that, you start going down and playing the manifesting game, like doing the manifesting things with an income, which is in opposition to what you want.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not an opposite, but the way that you would have gone about getting it, right? You could have gone and got, update the resume, go find all these jobs, do all this, which is not what you want, but you would have used your manifesting tools. And it's a 50-50 shot from my experience. Like that could have worked. You could have manifested a job, or you could have manifested not a job because it wasn't really what you wanted. And you'd already set this, you probably wouldn't have actually, because you put so much energy and so much creation into the life that you want, that it probably would have been nearly impossible to go get a job. Now that doesn't mean that some income opportunity or some, big, ooh, you could do this for so long and kind of a burst of cash to support won't show up. But if you went and tried to manifest a job, it would be in direct opposition to everything that you've been putting your energy towards for a year, that future life, that freedom, all of that. And so it really probably wouldn't have worked out very well.
And actually, I laughed because I had applied to a job a while ago. I never got a phone call, and I was overqualified. And even Joshua applied. It was a fast food restaurant, and they sent him a no thank you email. Oh, that's so
That's funny. Yeah, I love that. All right. So there is a story that there's a blog post about it, but I want you to tell the story of where you're recently very proud of yourself.
Oh, I've written a couple blog posts. Was that the rabbit hole one?
Just that you didn't react in a mama bear way.
Oh, yeah. Um, so I, as a mom, I carried it like a badge of honor being a mama bear. Like you don't mess with my children. I mean, like that was a mantra. Like I've said it for 46 years until just recently. Well, I guess I've only been a mom for 22 years, but that's okay.
Like she does look very young to have 46-year-old children.
I do not. But I got a phone call and I just I instantly went to the mama bear mode because that was familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had 15 minutes driving from home to where I was going. And I had called my mom, and because I knew I needed to feel my feelings before I got to my destination. And I didn't know in the moment why. I just knew I needed to feel them. And by the time I got there, I was calm, cool, collected. I
Because you
walked
felt your
in.
feelings on the way, right? You
Yes,
just
I
want to
felt my
make sure
feelings.
that
Yes,
gets heard.
I felt
Yeah.
my feelings.
Yeah.
I cussed, I ranted, I raved, I cried. I mean, all the things. And then when I got there, I walked in very calm. I asked one question and then I stood there quietly. And I just had this, I'll call it an inner knowing, but I trusted that it was all going to work out. And I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to come in like a raging bull in a china shop. It all worked out. And I knew in that moment that I don't have to show up as a mama bear. I can show up calm, cool, and collected, and things can still work out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really proud of myself because that was the first time in my life that I didn't show up ready for battle in the way that I used to.
Yeah.
I showed up as the woman I always wanted to be. And that was a very proud moment.
That's amazing. And what I want to point out about this is very often when we're not getting our self-worth or our worthiness from ourselves, right? We're not when we're not worthy because we are, or we're not feeding our own self-worth, that mama bear being a mama bear, and you said it like it was a badge of honor, but it was also probably fueling a lot of your self-worth and your worthiness throughout your life, right? And I'm not even sure what the question is, but I know what I want to talk about is how you couldn't have not shown up as the mama bear if you hadn't been becoming worthy just because you are.
And I just had a flash of, even when I was in high school or grade school, I was the one who came to, like, I call it the underdog's defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I would come in as a raging bull because it made me feel good. But it's because I was protecting or defending somebody else. And also, we talked about me being a coach before, a life coach.
Yeah.
And fixing things and people telling me their life story at the grocery store. That fueled me feeling worthy. And now I don't have to do all those things anymore. I can just be worthy.
Yes. 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 That is amazing. And freedom, because, highlight, you and I know this, but I want to highlight it for the listeners so they don't miss it. When your worthiness is coming from mama bear, your worthiness is coming from the stranger telling you their whole awful life story at the grocery store, and you come telling them it'll be okay, or coming to the underdog's rescue, you have to continually manifest those opportunities in order to feel good. And that can get exhausting.
Very.
But yet it's this trap, because if you don't feel worthy outside of those events, you have to keep creating those events in order to feel worthy and to feel worthy of life. And, when it crosses that threshold where it starts to become exhausting and draining, it's a dangerous place to be, because the more exhausted you get, the more you need to fuel your self-worth with that. And it's a very slippery slope.
Yeah, and I never looked at it that way, because I thought I was helping. But I came to a point where it was exhausting to go out in public.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was manifesting people dumping all of their shit on me.
Yeah.
And carrying it around just so that I could feel worthy.
Yeah.
That's hard work.
That is hard work.
It was a hard pill to swallow that I was manifesting, taking on all this other stuff that I didn't need to feel worthy.
Yeah.
And then when I realized I didn't have to, it was like a huge sigh of relief. The weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be worthy the easy way.
Yeah. And it becomes, I think this is an easier question, like with your kids, it all works out, right? Like
yes.
Do they get a better or worse experience when you show up calm than when you show up mama bear?
I'm going to say they get a better experience. Because I would say I felt afterwards I showed up and I looked like an asshole for being a mama bear.
Mm-hmm.
Now they get this strong mother who walks in and supports them and loves them and knows that I've got their back and it'll all work out. And whatever comes our way, it's going to be okay. The solution is there. And I don't have to come in looking like the a-hole again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think when you come in like the raging bull, you're not open to solutions,
Mm-mm.
right? Because the only solution is I'm a raging bull. Like it's not beyond the moment solution, right?
Right.
And so feeling supported and like there's an answer and a calm answer allows them to grow past that moment and experience good things past that moment instead of just, oh, my mom will come in and scream and yell for me.
Yeah. And I also just realized too that when you come in as the raging bull or the mama bear, you're creating and manifesting friction,
Yeah.
complications.
Yes, you are.
Not the solution you want. And so because I have to support the mama bear story, I have to create this dysfunction or this outcome that I don't want so that I can battle or fight for my children.
Right.
But when I walk in calm, cool, and collected, the solutions are easy. They just show up. I don't have to do anything extra. I'm creating a different outcome.
Yes. And you have to feel worthy of creating that outcome, right? In order to get that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Always good stuff, Cass. Thanks you.
You're welcome. I know the answer to this, but I want to ask it anyway. Do you think being proud of yourself increases your self-worth and feeling worthy of what you are manifesting?
I think so. For me, yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I didn't realize this, but I didn't truly, when I would say that I was a good mom, I didn't necessarily always believe I was a good mom. So saying it was almost like I was trying to convince myself. But being proud of myself with no explanation, I believe it now. And yeah, I definitely think it goes in with feeling worthy.
Yeah.
I am a good mom just because I am.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, and all the other things.
And all the other things, right?
Yeah.
And you had a question that ties into this that you wanted to ask me. Anything else you want to talk about with your story before we go into that question?
No, good stuff. Things I love the interviews because you see things from a different standpoint. Like I get it, but sometimes I get it even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we do them. Yeah. So what question did you have for me about self-worth and manifesting and up-leveling?
Yeah. So,
maybe you know the answer now.
Yeah. I think that I wanted to ask is like, if as you up-level, does feeling worthy you just automatically feel it, or is it continually being up-leveled? And I think the answer is yes, because it just goes on a deeper level. And I think if I want to continue to grow and be more of who I want to be and manifest, that being worthy is going to come up each time I up level. It's just going to be deeper. And I think now also that it's not as spread out in feeling worthy. It happens quicker versus how it used to happen when I first started.
Absolutely.
So is that a yes?
Yeah. It continually, because we continually get the opportunity to say yes. And when we say yes to more, like we, when my hitting coach, right, would always say like it's opposite and equal. And so when you get this opportunity to say yes to more money, becoming a coach, living your dream, whatever that is, when you get that opportunity and you say yes, there's an equal and opposite reaction, which is on the other side. You have to expand and you have to say yes to, yes, I'm worthy of that, right? Equally, every time. You have to, I guess it's not totally opposite, but I think of it like sides of the body. Like we get this and the other part of the body has to come around. They're connected. When we say yes to something coming into our lives that we want, we also have to say yes to ourselves. I'm worthy to receive that. I'm worthy of living that.
I think sometimes I have questions just because I want to hear what your answer is.
I get it. That's how I would be.
Yeah. I'm like, can you just confirm this for me? Like, am I on the right track?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you always say something that just really like makes it click. Like, I think sometimes we don't trust what our answers are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you respond back, it's like, okay, that makes more sense. Like there was just that little piece that was missing that goes, okay, now I can accept that as yes, that's the answer.
Yes.
So thank you for always doing that.
My pleasure. Anything else on your heart or your mind that you want to share as we wrap up today?
No, the Enchanted Life University it's my home until I put me 6 feet under, because this is the best place ever. And I'm going to continue to grow and expand and be more of the amazing, worthy woman that I am. And
Yes,
thank you, Cassie.
You are. My pleasure. You are welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Kimberly, for sharing this amazing chapter in your manifesting success story with us. If you're being called to join us at Enchanted Life University, you can get started first and pay after you manifest. Go to payafteryoumanifest.com or Enchanted Life U. And of course, you can have Kimberly as your coach and your abundance facilitator if that's what calls to you. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you next week.
The telling of stories is so powerful, both to the person telling it and the person receiving it. Since 30,000 BC, we as humans have told stories to teach and guide. And now we, with Manifesting Success Stories, hope to inspire you to what is possible in your own life. If you want more manifesting success, go to moremanifestingsuccess.com, where you'll find links to anything we've talked about on the show. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you have the power to write your own happy ever after.